everyone, Nathan here. I have Gaurav Bradoo with me from Logitech. Gaurav, tell us a little bit about yourself and we'll get started talking education today.
Awesome. Thanks, Nathan. I work at Logitech. I'm responsible for the product and portfolio, specifically looking at education within Logitech. And so
Awesome.
What we do is curate the entire Logitech portfolio experience and then design experience that makes sense in EDU.
Perfect. Okay, so I got a couple questions for you today. One, I want to talk about BETT. Tell us a little about BETT, because BETT is this, premier education-focused event. I hear it's awesome. I know we've exhibited a couple of years now in a row. Talk about BETT.
So BETT is, as you said, one of the global shows for education. It's based in the UK, and it was my first BETT last year, and it was just staggering to see the scale of this. So you had vendors like ourselves, you have ministries of education from around the world, you have students, teachers, decision makers, everyone in this show. That there's a lot of hustle and bustle, and it was super exciting. And in particular, seeing you wear those headsets, the Logitech Zone Learn, we announced that at BETT last year, and it was a big deal for us because it was our latest innovation in education. It's amazing to see you wear those headsets, and it's fitting you well. It's awesome.
Someone said that they said, yeah, you know what, your head is just way too big. And okay, listen, in general, my head is too big, maybe, but this is meant for a child's head, right? Everything's designed around a child, and in fact, even at a certain age, I thought it was like 4 to 12. Did I get that right, or is that wrong, or is that higher?
Great comment. So actually, it should fit your head, because what we did was we looked at the anthropomorphic data and said, how do we design for head sizes from like the 5th percentile 5-year-old all the way to the 95th percentile? We don't actually talk about ages anymore. It's about, hey, as long as it goes down all the way to a really small child. That's really the magical part. But on the upper end, we've seen that it ends up working on my head, working on your head, and it's really comfortable. So that was the big starting point with Zone Learn, was making sure we could have a headset that was super comfortable for children to use, because that's what we noticed was missing. We saw that children were wearing these headsets and earbuds that were many times gas station earbuds or things like that, where think about the times where if you can't even get through the content because what you're wearing is so uncomfortable,
right?
What are the chances you're going to focus on that as opposed to focus on the lesson that you need to learn? So our big starting point on this headset was making sure we could design something that was so comfortable for the kids to wear, and that they could put it on themselves. They could fit it on their heads themselves. And then from there, we said, okay, now that we've solved that fit and comfort, how do we make it so that the audio is tuned for learning? And what I mean by that is that the actual voice that you're listening is perfect for spoken lessons, for those audio cues that come within the learning apps. It's okay for music, but most headsets are actually designed for music. And then lastly, the vocals, right? The mic that you've got and you're using, if you use that with the headset, again, really good for that pickup. But the last piece to add in there was personalization. So I see you've got those charms on there.
It is the most brilliant thing your team, and I'm sure it's you and a bunch of folks, right, but came up with, because first I'm like, why would you want to put any of these, I think, gibbets or charms, or first of all, I started noticing in my kids' Crocs. That's where I started. I'm like, definitely don't take it from your shoe and put it in your, it's just something wrong with that. So we ended up going and buying a bunch of one. And obviously I love rubber duckies, and I have a rubber ducky up here. And I think I have Willy Wonka on the other side. These are not mine, just so everyone knows. But they're freaking cool. And the kids love them. They're changing them out all the time. So it doesn't really change the function of the headset. But it helps kids find their headset. It gives them some sort of style. It makes it fun for them.
Absolutely. And so that was actually tied to the insight that we had around making it feel personal for the kids. Because one of the things we saw was so much of technology feels sterile. And for kids to learn, them having a sense of personalization, to not only feel that it's theirs, like you said, for findability, but to take care of the products. So we made the thing very durable. You can take that headband and do what you want, but we know things break. And the two things that we did was there are swappable parts. The cables as well as the ear pads are swappable and upgradable. But then these little charms and little details that we've added make it so that the kids want to take care of them. And what you're showing there is the over-ear version, but you can actually, why I say upgradable is because you can go from an over-ear version of the product to an on-ear version of the product. Or you can go from a 3.5 millimeter jack version of the product to a USB-C version of the product. So from a school perspective, you could go 3 years and then have on your iPad 9th gen or your computer in your computer lab to an iPad 10th gen in a rugged combo with a USB-C and move to over-ear with the same product. You've actually upgraded your experience as opposed to just even repaired it.
That's funny you mentioned all those things. I feel like I've gone through all those use cases just in 1 year. And the reason I say that is it's been dropped. Milk has been poured over them. We've had Cheerios like on them. We've actually, so one of my daughters, she had little ears, and now as she's aging, she actually went, she loved these because they would fit around her ears. But then she's like, Dad, it's comfortable, but like my ears are bigger. So we swapped them up with the on ears. And then recently, just a couple of weeks ago, we went from old iPads to the 10th gen iPads. Of course, it's USB-C. Just swapped out the cable, and she's still using the same headset. And she's, oh, this is great. I'm like, yeah, like these guys over at this education group that we have at Logitech, they know what they're doing. Like they've really thought this through, and it's amazing.
Kudos to all the people that have given us the insights, because I think what we say is that the experts in this are the parents, the educators, the students themselves. I think it's like fascinating doing development work where you get kids to test your product. Yeah. Because adults will sometimes be shy to tell you what they think. Kids are amazing and ruthless, and it's phenomenal for product development. They don't hold back.
It's got to be fun just listening to. I see some of the product tests that happen online and the stuff that kids say, but that's truly to have a product that's been designed truly around the end user, in this case children, is just remarkable, right? So this is available now, today, right? So let's move on to the next one, because the next one I'm actually a little irritated because I don't have one yet. But I get it. It's in development, right? But let's talk about Logitech Reach. Yes. And by the way, before you even start talking about it, I have bought all sorts of nonsense and tried to rig something like this myself over the last 2 years. And it just doesn't work. It's not smooth. It falls down. You can't get the camera angle right. You're always like adjusting stuff up and down. And I've spent hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars buying stuff to make this work. So talk about Reach, because it solves so many of those problems. Tell us about Reach, because you introduced it at BETT, right?
That's right. So this year, BETT, we announced the Logitech Reach, which was our adjustable content camera that was designed for educators to be able to show physical objects. So something that we've seen time and time again has been that you're used to this world of picking up something and needing to show it. And something that we saw as we looked in classrooms, both in K-12 higher ed, was physical objects were still being shown. Even though content was getting digitized, physical objects are still being shown. And many of the existing solutions that were there were either too limiting because, like you said, they were designed for a fixed view, or you had to suddenly understand production flows and processes and build rigs and sort of equipment with ball joints and mounts and things like that to be able to get that right view. And they were often moving the content to the camera, a la this. We said, what happens if you can actually provide a level of flexibility, and if you can move the camera to the content versus the other way around? How would you design that experience so that you can think about the flow that you want, think about what you're going to talk about, and then be able to position and move the camera as you need? And so what we've developed is exactly that. We've taken our Logitech StreamCam, which is one of the most amazing content cameras out there, and then we've built on top of that and created this articulating, moving experience that lets you physically move the camera with a lot of ease to wherever you want to show it, and do that with single-handed movements, single-handed gestures. So it's super phenomenal. We announced it, as we said, at BETT in March. It's going to be coming out and available for the education channels in the summer this year. And anytime someone's seen the product, they've ended up telling us, hey, have you considered this use case? So we had, like, the number of use cases have just expanded, which, you know, is again hope-inducing for me. Like, even within education, we had sort of history departments come up and tell us, hey, we want to work through artifacts. In my mind, I'm like Indiana Jones. In their mind, they were like, not again. But showcasing things that are sensitive and not having the ability to have a lot of. We had a third grade classroom scenario where they were trying to show the life cycle of a butterfly and things like that, where you classically wouldn't use a top-down camera. Yeah. But now they're saying, because of the flexibility, we might actually bring back the use of some of these things because it's far more engaging, and you can see this from your vantage point, which normally you would have to sit right next to me.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what you're doing is having this inverted viewpoint. But now you can see it the way I'm seeing it. And so it's a really fascinating experience to be able to deliver that. And hopefully teachers and educators can have an amazing experience with it.
It's one of those products where I remember when you first announced it, and you guys did a great job, obviously, with the launch when you announced it first. But some people were like, a lot of people were skeptical, right? They were like, it's just a webcam on a stick. Like, how hard is that? However, if you haven't tried to build one yourself, or try to use one of those products before, you would realize how hard this actually is. And then the other part, like you said, it keeps you in your flow. You just pull the camera, you pull it down, it automatically focuses. You're literally physically dragging it down. And that stand is incredible. Like when I was at ISE with you guys, and I'm like, okay, this is it finally. Can I steal it? No, I can't steal it. And then until you actually start moving it around, you're like, wow, okay, this makes a big difference. Because being able to move it is one thing, but being able to move it smoothly, so everyone on the far end doesn't get dizzy watching you. That, and then the incredible amount of detail. And so there's so much that kind of got wrapped into this product. But until you use it, I think it's one of those where no one gets it until you get the globe with the cars or all the different ones that you use in your demos, until you pull that camera down and focus on it.
In fact, I think something that you pointed out, like even when we started using this, we were using this with two hands because we didn't have any reference products that existed that were like single-handed in this way and with a camera attached, right? So as we did that, we would be, oh, this is delicate. And over time, as our development team started using it, we got so used to the single-handed movement that now I can't imagine doing it the other way. It's just this extension. And my hope is that over time, you forget about the product. The more you can forget about Logitech Reach and the more you can focus on the content, the happier our team would be, because I actually don't want you to think about this. I want you to think about the stories that you want to tell, the lessons that you want to plan. And hopefully the product gets out of the way and lets you focus on that.
I think it will, just based on what we've seen, what you saw at BETT, what we saw at ISE. Everyone's tinkering. Everyone's, wow, I have so many different use cases for this that I didn't even think about. Can't wait. If you have an extra unit, I'd love to test it.
You know you're on my list.
I know. Thank you so much. Gaurav, hey, listen, thanks for taking a couple minutes to just walk us through BETT. Really excited to have both this product and then obviously Zone Learn, as well as Reach out in the wild. That's it. Thanks again.
Oh, thank you for having me. We're excited. Thanks for showcasing us in education.
Excellent. I'm glad you could join us. That's it, folks. That's another great episode with Gaurav Bradoo. Until next time, see you later.